When I found you, I saw raw, untamed power. And beyond that, something truly special.
Something inside me has always been there. But now it's awake. And I need help.
I've seen this raw strength only once before. It didn't scare me enough then. It does now. Let the past die. Kill it. If you have to. That's the only way to become what you were meant to be. We are the spark that'll light the fire that'll burn the First Order down. Come on! This is not going to go the way you think. Fulfill your destiny.
I need someone to show me my place in all this.
Alright guys, I know this is a late video, but you know, Christmas and New Year's, and I've just been really busy. So I haven't had time to make this movie review, even though I seen this movie like the week after it came out. So yeah, I just haven't had the time. Now there are spoilers in this thing, like, I mean, I'm pretty sure you wouldn't care. Some people don't care, but some people do. So there are spoilers in this, obviously, so you know, if you haven't seen it yet, you don't want to be like heartbroken, then click right off. Alright, basically for the most part, Star Wars The Last Jedi, which was pretty much probably, even though we don't want to admit it, us Marvel fans don't want to admit it, this is probably the biggest movie of the year, and it will be. And it was actually really good. I mean, I've never been like a huge Star Wars fan ever, like never. Like most of the time I like to watch, my dad liked to watch them, so I watched them too. But I really never was like, oh my god, I have to go see this. But I've seen all of them, so, you know, it's like I'm a fan without wanting to be a fan, you know. But the last two, well, the last one I watched was, you know, The Force Awakens, you know. It was pretty good. So I was like, hey, I want to see the next one when it comes out. I'm kind of curious. Really curious to find out who Rey's parents were, but if you were excited for that, too bad, you won't find that out. But even though we probably all know that Kylo Ren is her brother, they have connections. It's just, you know, they have to be brother and sister. I'm sorry, they have to be. To see The Last Jedi, it looked really interesting, so I was like, hey Dad, let's go see it. So we went and seen it. If you don't like long movies and you can't sit through it, don't go to this one. It was interesting. I was never bored or anything, so I mean, it's worth it to me, so whatever. Anyway, yeah, basically the storyline was really good. I was surprised that they killed off such a main character. Luke Skywalker died at the end of this movie, and it was like, but he died of his own free will. He basically, there was a whole like mind screw up in the last scene of the movie to where the whole time you think Luke Skywalker's there and Kylo Ren is destroying him and shooting him and fighting him and nothing's hurting him, so you're like, what? Is he like really in depth with the Force or something? Or is he like invincible? Like, I was like all over the place. I was like, oh, he got the Force to where he can never die. Like, that's how like crazy this last scene was, but apparently he wasn't there. He was still on the island projecting himself over there. And it's so strong of a force that he had to mess with that it killed him. And he died. So he died of his own will. I'm pretty sure he knew this was gonna happen. He probably did it on his own, you know. So, really they had to kill him off because, you know, he didn't really want to be Luke anymore, and so they probably had to end it that way, just so he's probably was like, I will do this movie if you kill me off really, really fast. And they were probably like, all right, we'll do that. Anyway, storyline was good. It was great. It was a lot about Rey, but it was mostly to be about Rey and Kylo Ren and her figuring out her past, even though she doesn't actually get to figure out her past. It was like them playing with us, like with a string, and they were like, hi, you want the parents? Too bad you don't know who it is. Because they would go, I know who your parents are. And she'd go, who is it? And he'd say, they were trashy people, or I forgot what he said, but it's like people that sold you for money and booze, and I'm like, no, it's not. And then she was like, show me my parents, to this psychic wall thing, and it was like, and it was showing her two people, and then they disappeared, and I was like, no, quit teasing us, what are you doing? And it was fun. Some people hated it, and I'm pretty sure they hated it because Luke died, but I mean, that happened. I also want to talk I will talk about all the characters individually, but I want to talk about this one freaking scene. I will insert it right here. Spread my wings and fly away. I believe I can soar. See me running through that open door. I believe I can fly. I believe. Got blasted into space by Kylo Ren when they were destroying almost all the rebels got destroyed in this movie, so there's not very many left. She blasted her into space. She's in space for like a couple minutes, and I'm like, and she has the Force, and she like pulls herself to the ship, and she's like, dah! And the guy behind me was like a die-hard Star Wars fan, apparently. He had like a Star Wars blanket, he had like a Star Wars hoodie. Him and his girlfriend were there, and he was like really like yelling, cussing, bull, but not crap, bull, S-H-I-T, the whole time that scene happened. And the scene was pretty long, so I was like, can you shut up? There are children in this movie, mister. I think it was some bull too, because she got the Force to pull her back, but she didn't die of no oxygen. Come on. She was even freezing on her face, because space is basically a void of cold. So when you're in space, you're gonna freeze, and she didn't freeze or nothing. Her face froze a little bit, and it was done. So that was some bull. They're gonna have to kill her off soon anyway. I don't know why they stretched it. I guess because they couldn't have Leia die and Luke die in the same movie. People would have raged. My favorite scene in the whole movie was Kylo Ren killed Snoke, you know. Killed him like really easily, which I didn't expect at all. I was like, what? Because, you know, he feels everything. He's like, I know everything that's gonna happen. And I'm like, I bet you didn't see that coming though. Obviously he didn't. He got split in half. But then Rey and Kylo Ren, like, they both could control each other's lightsabers, and they were both fighting, and they had all these guards in this room, and they had to take them all down, and they were fighting together. It was so awesome. The whole time I was like, whoa. And she like flipped over him and like stabbed this person with her lightsaber. It was like really cool. So that was like the best scene, and then right away he goes, so now that the dark side is fallen, or whatever, I forgot what he said, it's been a while. He's like, the dark side is fallen. Now next, the rebellion. He wants everything to fall, both sides he wants to fall. And she goes, no, the rebellion is here to help people. And he's like, no, I want it all to fall. So he wants to take down everything. And apparently I'm pretty sure he wants to be the leader of everything, which is weird because he doesn't strike me as a leader. He's just like an out of control emo child. It's basically that. I mean, and then like that they're enemies, and he wants to go destroy the rest of the rebellion, and there ain't much left by this point. So the scene where Kylo Ren was shirtless, and I don't know why, it just made me so like, put your shirt on please. I don't know, it just made me uncomfortable. I don't know if it's because of the high-waisted jeans he was rocking or what, but it just made me uncomfortable. I was like, Put your shirt on, please. Now Daisy Ridley returned as Rey, which I really like her, and she's really cute. So I was like, yay! I liked her. Her character was like really, it was kind of like she wasn't like, and to me she wasn't like the main character in this, even though she technically was. It was more like a side hustle between her and Kylo over here. So they weren't like, they were kind of like both the same because the stories kept switching from him to her, basically. And then they had this little story going on with the rebels, but I'm not even going to talk about that. But it was like a little back and forth thing going on. So they like shared the spotlight in this movie. So I liked this. I mean, it was pretty cool. Now with Mark Hamill as Luke, I'm pretty sure he didn't want to do the movies. So that's why he wasn't in the first much, and then in this one he killed him off. I don't think he wanted to be a part of it anymore, so no problem. But he's done his time, you know. He's been there, you know. I didn't want him to go. Thought I was gonna cry. If he would have died at the hands of somebody, I would have cried because I grew up watching that. I mean, didn't really like. I was like super in love with it when I grew up, but he was one of my crushes when I was young. So I would have been like, no, he died. But I didn't cry because he died of his own will. But he did a really good job. I really liked him. As soon as he got on, as soon as the scene started, Rey, where it ends at The Force Awakens, Rey's handing him his lightsaber, and he picks it up and he looks at her, and it starts the same way. It starts the exact same way on the with The Last Jedi, except once he looks at her, he grabs his lightsaber and he goes, he just throws it, and he walks away because he doesn't want to be a Jedi anymore. He doesn't want them to be there. He wants the Jedis to end. He doesn't want any more Jedis. He said it's dangerous and all this stuff. So it was just hilarious. I was like, oh my gosh. And he trained Rey, but not really. He trained her like to show her why the Jedi need to end. So he trained her by putting her on a rock and letting her go, you know, stuff like that. And she like went straight to the dark side, and he's like, you didn't even resist. You went straight to the dark side. And she's like, yeah, but it was telling me something. And after then, he like didn't want to train her anymore because she broke some rocks with her mind. And he was like, no, because Kylo Ren had the same thing, which is why I'm like, hello, they're brother and sister. They both have like the same equally strong like force powers. So yeah, and Luke didn't even act like surprised, like it could possibly be his daughter, so there's no way that it's Luke's, because then they would have had some like touching, oh my father moments in there. They didn't. So I'm still betting it's Han Solo and Leia. They had Rey. I bet Luke Skywalker was his teacher, aka his uncle, and he was willing to kill his uncle too, you know, like he hoped he killed his uncle. Like, what is wrong with you? And I think he knows Rey is his sister, but he doesn't want to say anything, and he was very willing and hoping to kill his sister. Like, I'm pretty sure he knows that it's his sister, because why else could they be connecting and have the same gifts and be able to both, you know, pick up the same loot lightsabers? I'm so tired. I'm just like, you are such a douchebag. Yes, you are. My review for the Star Wars The Last Jedi, and apparently The Last Jedi was probably Luke. I mean, everyone thought it was going to be Rey because we thought he was going to train her, but he did not train her. I mean, he blew up, Yoda showed up and blew up the temple of the Jedi, so there's no more Jediing, except for what's in people's mind and what people know, because all the books were destroyed, and Luke never got to train her, so I'm pretty sure Luke's the last Jedi. I mean, there are some Jedis out there, but they don't have any new material, you know, so they're not going to be able to I mean, then again, it could have been Rey that was the last Jedi, because at the end, she moved all these rocks with her mind. Like, she wasn't trying that hard anyway. She was like, and all these rocks moved. So she could be the last Jedi too, but she wasn't trained in everything, so I don't know. So basically, I gave this movie, I would say 4 stars. I mean, it could have been a 5-star. It's just so much space battle. Oh, so much space battle.